The field hospital was a collection of canvas tents and wooden huts scattered through a pine grove, hidden from German observation aircraft by the dense canopy overhead. The smell hit me first: disinfectant, blood, and that peculiar odor of wounded men trying not to die. It was a smell I knew too well. I sat on a wooden crate outside the medical tent, smoking a cigarette that tasted like salvation. 3 hours had passed since our rescue. 3 hours since I'd thought I'd never draw another breath as a free man. My hands had finally stopped shaking. Through the canvas wall behind me, I could hear the medical staff working on Dimitri. The infection had spread further than we'd feared, but the surgeon, a grizzled major with steady hands, believed they'd caught it in time. Amputation was likely, but the boy would live. Sergeant Volkov. I looked up to see a young lieutenant approaching, his uniform too clean, his face too unmarked by war. A staff officer, probably never been closer to combat than a headquarters map table. Yes, sir. Major Kozlov wants to see you immediately. I stubbed out the cigarette and followed him through the camp. Soldiers lounged around small fires, cleaning weapons, writing letters, playing cards, normal things, living things. After the hell of the past few days, the simple sight of men existing without fear felt like a miracle. The command post was a reinforced bunker built into a hillside, probably constructed by German engineers before we'd pushed them out. Major Kozlov was bent over a map table, his weathered face illuminated by the harsh light of a kerosene lamp. He looked up as I entered. Sergeant Volkov, I've been waiting to debrief you. His voice was gravelly, the voice of a man who'd been shouting orders over artillery fire for too long. Tell me about this German armored spearhead you encountered. I described everything: the tank tracks we'd found, the composition of forces, their direction of movement, their apparent objectives. Kozlov listened intently, occasionally making notes on his map with a pencil stub. 3 Panthers and a Tiger, you said? Along with the Panzer IVs? Yes, sir. At least. There might have been more behind them. The major exchanged glances with another officer, a captain I hadn't noticed standing in the shadows. That matches what we've been hearing from other patrols. Intelligence suggests the Germans are massing armor for a counterattack. Your information confirms it. He straightened up, rolling his shoulders to work out the kinks. Your men performed admirably, Sergeant, especially considering your losses. Kostya, the wound was still fresh. The guilt still sharp. Sir, about Sniper Kostya. There was nothing you could have done differently, Kozlov interrupted. Sometimes good men die so that others might live. That's war. The words were meant to be comforting, but they felt hollow. I'd heard them before, said them myself to younger soldiers who'd lost friends. They never helped. Your men are being reassigned, the major continued. Fresh unit, full strength, proper equipment. You'll have a few days to rest and refit before. Sir, I interrupted. Request permission to keep my current squad together. Kozlov raised an eyebrow. Sergeant, you have 4 men. Barely enough for a fire team, much less a squad. Regulations require... With respect, sir, these men have been through hell together. We work as a unit. We trust each other. That's worth more than regulation strength. The major studied me for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Very well, but you'll be attached to 1st Company, 241 Regiment. Captain Morozov is their commander. He'll find work for you. As I left the bunker, I found Ivan waiting outside, leaning against a tree. The big Siberian looked different somehow. Cleaner, but also older, marked by our ordeal in ways that wouldn't wash off. "How's the boy?" he asked. "They think he'll make it. Might lose the leg, but he'll live." Ivan nodded. "Good. He's got fight in him." We walked back toward the medical area in comfortable silence. Vasily was sitting by a fire, methodically cleaning his machine gun. The DP-28 had saved our lives more than once, and he treated it with the respect it deserved. Pyotr was nearby, reading a letter from home, his young face peaceful for the first time in days. "So, what now, Sarge?" Vasily asked without looking up from his work. "New assignment, new unit, but we stay together." "Good," Ivan said simply. "We're a team." I looked at these men, my men, and felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Not just survival, but belonging. We had been forged together in the crucible of combat, tempered by shared hardship and mutual sacrifice. We were more than soldiers now. We were brothers. A commotion near the medical tent caught our attention. Dimitri was being moved on a stretcher, conscious and alert, his face pale but determined. He saw us watching and raised his hand in a weak wave. "Sergeant," he called out, "thank you, all of you." I walked over to him as the medics prepared to load him into a truck bound for the rear. His eyes were clear now, the fever broken, the infection finally under control. "You did good, soldier," I told him. "Your first action, and you held together when it mattered." He tried to sit up, wincing at the pain. Will I be able to come back, to fight again?" I looked at the heavily bandaged stump where his leg had been, then back at his young, hopeful face. Another lie would be easy, comforting, but he deserved better. "The war will be over before you're ready to return," I said. "You've done your part. Now you get to go home and tell everyone how you served with the Red Army." He smiled at that, a real smile, the first I'd seen from him since he'd been shot. "Tell them about the Serpent's gut, Sergeant. Tell them how we escaped." "I will," I promised. As the truck pulled away, carrying Dimitri toward safety and home, I felt the weight of new responsibility settling on my shoulders. Not just the burden of command, but something else. The obligation to remember, to bear witness to what we had endured. The war would continue. There would be more missions, more battles, more young men who would never see home again. But for now, in this moment, we were alive. We were together. We had survived. And sometimes, in a war that devoured everything it touched, survival was victory enough. "Come on," I said to my men. "Let's get some food. Tomorrow, we go back to work." As we walked toward the mess tent, I could hear the distant rumble of artillery, our guns this time, firing at German positions to the west. The sound was oddly comforting, A reminder that the war was still being fought, that we were still in it. But tonight, for the first time in days, I would sleep without fear. Tonight, I was among the living.